first of all, I would say that when you are a leader, you have got to take the attitude that there is nothing that you do not want to know. You want every bit of information you can possibly get from your organization. So many CEOs, presidents, CFOs that I've met over the years basically just, they literally don't want to know. As I said, when you confront them with this is what somebody said, I don't believe it, I don't want to know. My advice is sit down with your director of public relations and say to that director, okay, tell me everything that you're trying to keep from me. Because your director of public relations is trying to keep you from hearing about all kinds of crap that's going on, and is also trying to protect everything. As one very good one said to me, my job, I'm the company filter. I filter what goes up, I filter what comes down, I filter what goes out, I filter what comes in. You want to sit with that person, once a week and say, all right, just tell me all the stuff that is going on. I want to know. Because it is all this stuff that's going on, and it's hard to get down in the organization. But having ways that get information up to you and accept it. I mean, the CEO of Dow Chemical knew about the leaking breast implants, and I don't know what he thought, that it was just going to disappear. He was in a session where somebody in one of the labs told him. Didn't do anything until it became a big public event. So that's one of the things. I actually have a list here of things that I have thought about. I would say that words are just words. Do not say something unless you really are going, that you know that you can and that you will do something. Do not get into big fancy words about integrity and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, do not stand up there and say this company is built on honesty. I'll tell you why. Because there are going to be a lot of people listening to you who are going to say, has this guy ever looked at our budgeting process? Honest, it isn't. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on, and the problem is that people really will, they'll think of reality. You stand up and just sort of bloviate, and they're going to think of reasons. They're going to say, that's not so. That really isn't. Also, some very basic things. Know all your stakeholders and your responsibilities to each of the stakeholders, and make sure you recognize that you are dealing with multiple stakeholders. You're really trying to balance obligations to different stakeholders. You're not going to make them all happy, but you've got to try to, and think as well that you are dealing with competing claims of principles and of values. The world would be really simple if all you had to do was tell the truth. Nothing else. Just tell the truth. Aren't I ethical? Aren't I wonderful? Well, there are very complicated situations in which telling the truth is going to be something that's going to be battling with other kinds of ethics. As I said, my favorite little story about, if you have a 4-year-old child and you teach your 4-year-old to tell the truth, right? Always tell the truth. That's the best thing you do. And your mother, her grandma, comes in some ridiculous-looking outfit she could have maybe worn, with her hair done up and everything, and says, darling, how does Grandma look? You don't want your kid to say, you look silly, Grandma, because you've also taught your child not to hurt people's feelings. Very simple. There you have a 4-year-old with an ethical dilemma. How do I both tell the truth and not hurt someone's feelings? Well, the reality is you've got to create a way for people in your organization to balance and manage these things. Don't just stand up there and say, our core values are openness, honesty, teamwork, commitment, blah, 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 blah. Unless you know what that means. Everybody's got them. But the reality is, I'd rather not see anything like that. I'd rather see you understand what your people are facing and really help them work it through. I'd also say measure what you value, because you value what you measure. And that's one of the very hard things. It's like we can find people doing unethical things. How do you find people doing ethical things? How do you reward what's ethical? We expect ethics. You have to figure out what are, in a sense, surrogates. You've got to figure out, because it is really true, people only pay attention to what you can measure, and you've got to really work hard on that. And my key thing is, I say, remember that what you are doing, in whatever business you were going into, if you were going into the legal profession, you are dealing with other people's money and other people's lives. It's not yours, and you have a responsibility to people. You owe stewardship, and you owe respect to them. And that is really critical. You know, I always think, I don't know if you saw the movie Other People's Money with Danny DeVito, and, you know, he turns, the beginning, he faces the audience, he says, I love money. I love money more than the things money can buy. The only thing I love more, other people's money. You're going to have other people's money in your hand, and you better deal with it responsibly. That's probably the most important thing, and build a culture in your company that enables your people to act responsibly and behave in a way that reflects positively on you and the company, and it is your responsibility as a leader. You build the culture.